Well, that that certainly happened. Oh my God. Uh, mm, Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your set. It's Hitman Cause, and welcome to the contracts for your official review of Survivor Series War Games. And of course, I'm not alone in this endeavor. Please welcome one and all the co-host, as always, the homeman Gary. Welcome to the contracts.
My man, yo, my man, Cause Payton, what's goody, what's goody, what's goody?
Ain't nothing, man. Ready to give our take on this?
You know, let's do this shit like Brutus, you know it.
All right. Well, first to start things off, we had the women's War Games match, where it was Team Damage Control, consisting of them, Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley, up against Team Belair, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch. I was definitely I was down with this match. This was a really good matchup, you know.
Oh yeah.
I definitely once again enjoyed Nikki Cross's unpredictability and her craziness, especially when like before the match started, she was standing on top of the cage that everyone was supposed to be in. I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, she jumped on everybody.
No. I mean, before she even got in the match, when she was doing her entrance, she got up on top of the cage.
Oh yeah.
And then while she was doing that, Rhea Ripley was just casually doing pull-ups.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
But anyways, on to the match. Very hard very hard hitting, you know. So some hardcore greatness done in. I really couldn't be happier with what they did for the most part. I will have to say there was a pretty sloppy looking botch from EO Sky, where two times back to back she tried to do that double knees attack that she does in the corner, but every time she lifted herself up in the air, she couldn't bring herself back down in time, and her arms gave way. It just looked all around sloppy.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, I still enjoyed this match. We had two aerial spots. First by Nikki Cross, where she hit everyone with a cross body, and then Io hitting Mia Yim and I think Alexa Bliss with a moonsault. Moonsault to which that almost missed.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
Because honestly, if she hadn't had her arms out, then she would have went right through them.
Right.
Then there was a bit of an interesting spot where Nikki Cross had some handcuffs, and she cuffed one arm to Alexa Bliss, and then I don't know where she was going with that, whether she was gonna trap her to the cage or what, but Alexa turned the tables on her and cuffed her to her. This definitely brings back to War Games a couple of years ago, where it was Team Shayna versus Team Rhea, where Rhea handcuffed her arm to Shayna's before hitting her with the riptide to win the match.
Right.
But anyway, and then what happened next was also a little sloppy considering what happened. where Alexa hit a top rope back suplex to Nikki, but she went through the garbage can instead of Nikki. Nikki just hit the canvas.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That's cool.
then then there was a spot where Rhea slammed Mia Yim through a table. That was pretty good. But
That was
yeah. but the match itself came to an end where when Io Sky and Dakota Kai were laid out on a table, and then Bayley tried to save them, but got hit with the KOD, and then Becky Lynch went up to the second rope, hit a senton splash. Hit a senton splash onto both of them to win the match. I know I'm gonna sound picky when I say this, but I think it would have been better if she went to the very top and then went through them. You know,
yeah.
I mean, because either way they still would have broke her fall, so you know, wouldn't have been a total. It wouldn't have been that bad, you know.
Exactly.
And plus, it would have made the spot look better with her jumping from a higher distance.
Right. Exactly. It would have. I completely agree. It really would have worked if she had jumped from a higher distance.
Then I also like the spot where Asuka brought back the poison mist.
Yeah.
And we've seen a color of poison mist that I haven't seen, at least not in WWE. And that was the blue mist.
Right.
Last time I seen blue mist was from the person who made it famous, and that was the Great Muta. But that was outside WWE. But still, he did green, he did all colors, and he did blue.
Exactly.
But yeah, honestly, mainly because Becky didn't go high enough, in my opinion. The ending didn't feel as satisfying as it should have.
Gotcha.
Like, had she gone higher, then you know it would have had that true definitive ending feel to it for me.
I got you.
But you know, nonetheless, you know, Team Belair wins, and honestly, this should put the end to any kind of feud between Bayley and Bianca Belair, because once again they've been defeated,
Right.
and they haven't gotten their heat back. So with them getting beat, I think second, third time in a row, like this is it. You know, this has to be it. Moving on. What happened?
I completely agree, for real.
Yeah. Moving on, we have AJ Styles facing off against Finn Balor. As expected, you know, both the OC and the Judgment Day interfered in the match, so to speak. But it didn't have an effect on the outcome of the match, because when they started fighting, they wound up going over the barricade and whatnot. So it essentially turned it into a one-on-one affair.
Right.
And for a good amount of the match, Styles was working on Finn's leg, and in my opinion, Finn should have done a better job of selling a leg injury, considering how much Styles kept going for it, you know?
Exactly.
because he kept running around so much. Hardly, I don't think he was even pretending to limp, but yet he still was moving around himself, not even trying to sell it.
Right.
Then, and then it was then eventually Styles did put in the calf killer. But then Finn actually pulled a Brock Lesnar as to how he broke out of it by slamming AJ's head into the mat.
Oh yeah.
Then they had a good back and forth. Finn almost connected with the coup de grace, but Styles moved out the way, and that was I think that had to be the only time, at least the only time I remember, Finn selling the knee injury.
Yeah.
But eventually, what's his face? AJ connected with the phenomenal forearm to win the match. And believe it or not, this is actually AJ's first pay-per-view win since 2019. Scratch that. His first singles pay-per-view win since 2019.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
I definitely would like to see what the fallout is going to be on Raw, but all will be answered then. But on a side note to the Judgment Day, I thought that was pretty interesting. Really came out of left field with Dominic and Rhea Ripley showing up to Rey Mysterio's house and beating him down. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's crazy. I wonder what's gonna happen with that.
Hey, who says kayfabe isn't dead?
No, right?
Actually, no. But better question is, who said kayfabe is dead? You know?
Exactly.
Dom still needs work in quite a few aspects of wrestling, but for now, kayfabe isn't one of them.
Fact, man.
And it's funny because Michael Cole officially said, at least on TV, referring to Rhea Ripley as Dom's girlfriend. So now storyline wise, they're together. So one could argue that that it was Rhea Ripley that brainwashed Dom.
Oh yeah, that is a bit. Oh yeah, that is a bit same.
And afterwards, like during the event, during Survivor Series, Michael Cole mentioned that he spoke to Ray after what happened, and he's still heartbroken and everything. Like, he has more emotional pain rather than physical pain. So, as far as physical pain goes, like, it's non-existent compared to the psychological pain that he's still dealing with.
Right, exactly.
But moving on before we get any further sidetracked. Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda had Shayna ringside. Before getting down to the match, actually no, while getting down to the match, I will say, even though I was not convinced that Shotzi had the match in any way, shape, or form throughout the whole duration. I will say she did show fight, at least. But still, for the most part, Ronda was toying with her.
Oh yeah.
And even though she did get some few shots, and still wasn't enough to like change my mind. And
right.
And not only that, there was a pretty nasty, there was a pretty bad botch during the match where Shotzi attempted to do one final beat, but her hand slipped and freaking and she wasn't able to hit Ronda with a DDT onto the apron. So they just scrambled together and had her do a regular one onto it. It was still like very, very bad all around. Yeah.
Yes, I bet.
Then Shayna, you know, had made sure her presence was felt a bit, saving Ronda from certain moves. But she did want a pain because Shotzi was taking her out and Ronda at the same time. Hell, they even fought in the crowd a little bit, and thankfully the referee wasn't counting much and letting them slide. Obviously, that referee understood the situation.
Right.
If only there were more referees that could read the room like that.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
Then towards the end of the match, Ronda was you know, in firm control once again. I think Shotzi tried to go for a drop kick, but freaking Ronda grabbed both of her legs and trapped them before putting her in an ankle lock. And then after Shotzi eventually broke out of that, Ronda caught her with Piper's Pit twice before locking in the armbar to win the match.
Right.
And, you know, I really shouldn't be that guy, but as of now, I don't give a fuck. Because I was hearing the chants all throughout the match. We want Sasha. We want Sasha. Well, too bad. Y'all ain't getting Sasha. Go cry.
Oh shit.
We were in Sasha's hometown of Boston. The people were swearing up and mainly her stands were swearing up and down we were gonna get Sasha. People were chanting, "We want Sasha," and honestly, there was even times where it looked like a good time to bring her out. But no Sasha for you. Go cry in the corner. I'll be more than happy to hook y'all up with some tissues to wipe up your tears. And if you don't want to wipe up your tears, I'm gonna go ahead and put them in a bottle, put some ice in it, and drink it. Moving on, we had Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory for the United States title.
Oh yes.
And honestly, you definitely called it. This was one of the best matches of the night.
Yes, sir. I was like, oh yes, yo, this match was it's really one of the best matches of the night.
Friggin' Lashley was he was a little more focused in this match, and it showed. I really I like the three-way spots, like the spot where he had both Seth and Theory locked in a hurt lock. That was very interesting.
Me too. Yeah, I liked it too.
Made me wonder who was gonna tap or who was gonna pass out. Thankfully, it was neither one of them. Then there was also the other spot where he had Seth in the hurt lock, and then and then Theory jumped on Lashley's back and put him into a sleeper hold.
Oh yeah.
Made me wonder who was gonna crack.
Exactly.
And then the freaking best part was the end of the match, where freaking Seth hit. Actually, no. Before I mention that part, why is it that the only time Seth attempts to do the Phoenix Splash, he knows he's always gonna miss? Because
good question.
Because every time I've seen him trying to attempt the Phoenix Splash, he always lands on his feet. It's as if it's like seriously, he knows he's gonna miss. He just wants to do it. He just wants to do the move for the hell of it.
Oh yeah, got crazy.
Yeah. But anyways, Seth hit Theory with a superplex, and then he was about to hit him with the Falcon Arrow, but he got speared by Lashley, and then after Lashley hit the spear, he couldn't actually no. Before then, there was an even better spot where Seth jumped on top of. He either jumped on top of Theory or jumped over him to hit a curb stomp on Bobby Lashley. I thought that was real good.
Oh yeah, that was good. Sure, I agree.
But yeah, the ending, you know, he hit a top rope superplex, and then he was going for the Falcon Arrow, but he got speared by Lashley. But Lashley couldn't capitalize on it because he rolled towards the other side of the ring. And then when Seth fell down, Theory fell down as well. But then he put himself on top of Rollins to get the 1-2-3, and the redemption for now is complete. Austin Theory is the new United States champion. And ladies and gentlemen, it is A-Town down. I am very, very pleased at this outcome. I personally feel that he shouldn't have cashed in Money in the Bank for the title, but you know, all is forgiven for now because he's the champ. So, and he's being more serious now. So I'm looking forward to a nice reign from Theory.
Oh yeah, I got you, man.
Part of me is wondering where Seth is gonna go from here. Well, actually, both of them. Part of me thinks more than likely that Seth is gonna try and get the title back, but at the same time, I have another thought that Lashley is gonna try and go after Seth, or whatever, or maybe Lashley is gonna go after Theory because he still wants the title.
Right.
Yeah, who knows. Moving on to the main event, we had the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Butch, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Now, earlier in the night, Jey Uso brought to Roman's attention of what happened on SmackDown, where actually, hold on, did you see SmackDown?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so then I can say it, where Kevin Owens approached Sami Zayn and was talking to him and pretty much talked about his loyalty with the Bloodline and straight up told him to turn on them before they turn on him. And then unbeknown to Sami, Jey Uso was eavesdropping on the whole thing. And
right.
And when he confronted Sami lied to his face about it. So, you know, he basically told Roman to watch himself and do something about Sami. But then when Roman confronted Sami kept it a stack. he didn't lie about anything.
Exactly.
So, and it appeared, at least to Sammy, it appeared that Roman believed him. But you could see that when they hugged, Roman was still unsure.
Right.
But getting down to the match. First, the match started off with Jey Uso and the Brawling Brutes. Then, once time elapsed, Rich Holland came out, and actually even before Rich Holland came out, freaking Butch was having his way with Jey Uso, straight up torturing him.
Oh yeah.
Like, go ahead. Yo, go ahead.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he was having his way with them. He really was.
And I tell you what, he was torturing the living hell out of his bad hand, too. That especially.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too.
And Rich Holland had some good, was inflicting some good pain, but I'd say Butch was causing more of an issue. You know, as far as beating up Jey Uso. Also, before I continue, I couldn't help but notice that Butch was grabbing his arm the whole match. Like, was he selling an injury, or did he really injure his arm?
Butch.
Yeah.
I want to say, he probably was holding his arm, if you ask me.
Alright. Anyways. Then, the timer hit 0. It was time for another member of the Bloodline to come out. Initially, Jimmy Uso was going to do it, but Roman stopped him and told Sammy to go down. And Sammy was hesitant because Jey Uso was still down, and the Brutes were literally waiting for him to come back in. We're waiting for him to come into the match. Yeah. But in any case, he did come in. For as much as he could, despite Jay still doubting him and not wanting anything to do with him, he still managed to stick his neck out once again for the Bloodline, where Jay was up against the cage and he was about to get hit with something. But at first it looked like Jay got out the way, but a replay from a different angle showed that Sammy yanked him out the way.
Right.
And even still, Jey Uso was like, well, I forgot what he said, but he was on some, he was tripping.
Oh yeah.
Then Drew McIntyre came out, so now they were at a disadvantage. Then finally Jimmy Uso came out, so now the odds were even. But when the Bloodline took control, there was a moment that I didn't like, where freaking once again Jey Uso got up in Sammy's face.
Oh that part. Oh yeah, that shocked me too.
Yeah.
That shocked me when it was like still bickering because Sammy, as you can see, that's why when Jimmy was gonna go out, but Roman told him to stay back. As you can tell, he wanted Sammy to go because he wanted to see where the loyalty lies.
Yep. And then next thing you know, he starts pushing Sammy. Sammy pushes back. Then they're really like at this point like they're seconds away from throwing hands. Had Jimmy not stepped in between them, and then on top of that, freaking Roman's looking disgusted.
Right.
But they both, mainly Jay, got their head out of their asses for the moment. But then there came a time, I'm not sure if it was after KO and Solo got in, but there was a spot where Jimmy I mean, Jay attempted a super kick on, I think, Ridge Holland, but he ducked out the way and he wound up kicking Sami Zayn instead. Now, I will say this: he didn't mean to kick Sami, but at the same time, he didn't exactly look sorry as far as hitting him.
Yeah, he didn't.
And the crowd was pissed too, because.
That's right.
Because I guarantee you, they know that Jay didn't mean to hit him, but at the same time, he's not exactly upset. He's not exactly remorseful or upset that he hit him. But you know, a little after that, Pete Dunne got hit with the 1D from the Usos. Of course, you know, Solo, Sikoa, and Kevin Owens were the next ones to come out. Kevin Owens sporting an attire reminiscent of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, that was good.
And I think it was from his days in either ECW or WCW, something like that, where he wore a shirt and pants. The only thing he was missing was the cowboy boots that Rhodes wore.
Right.
But it was more of the sentiments, you know.
Right.
Then of course, Sheamus came out. Then Roman came out. Then the match started. Now I know I heard a little bit of chirping among the internet of how some people weren't fond of there not being as much spots in the men's War Games match compared to the women's. But the thing is, they didn't need to because they were still putting on a great match to the point where they didn't need to. Yeah.
Exactly.
At least in my opinion.
I got you.
Yeah. But
It was a good match. It was.
yeah. And I will say this: it was a nice showing by Solo Sikoa when he first came in. They had him down there looking unstoppable.
Yeah.
Freaking hitting everybody with big moves. Kevin Owens threw him into the cage, to which Solo no-sold it. Then he ate a few super kicks, but that didn't do much good. But he finally turned the tables on him when he stomped on his foot. And this is where Solo was at a disadvantage because he doesn't wear shoes. And then Kevin Owens, I think he was trying to go for a powerbomb, but it was countered into a backdrop with his back going onto the steel grate. I know that shit had to hurt.
Oh yeah.
Then there was also a good spot of Solo Sikoa hitting the spinning Solo on someone through a table. I'm trying to remember who he hit it.
McIntyre.
Yeah.
McIntyre through the table.
Yeah, thank you. Hit Drew McIntyre. Hit Drew McIntyre with the spinning Solo through a table. That was some good shit. Now I know there was I could swear there was another. Yeah. There was another table spot because there was a table set up in the corner. I'm trying to remember who went through it.
Oh, Roman speared Sheamus through it.
Yes. There we go. He speared.
He kicks on the Usos and speared.
Yeah. He speared. So yeah, Sheamus got speared through through that table, but that wasn't enough. And also, once again, there was multiple times where Sami stuck his neck out once again. Actually, this was towards the end, where Kevin Owens was now in control, and Roman tried to hit the spear, but KO countered, and eventually hit him with a pop-up power bomb, To which then hit him with the stunner. 1, 2, and then at the last second, Sami Zayn leaped over and grabbed the referee's arm to prevent the 3. Then KO and Sami were face to face. KO's questioning if they're his family, and Sami's trying to tell him that they are. Then he gets hit with a super kick from Jey Uso. Roman grabs on to KO's leg, to which then Sami Zayn low blows KO, hits him with the haluva kick. Then he tells Jey Uso to go to the top rope, and he throws down KO. And honestly, what happened next was surprising, at least for me. Jey Uso hit the splash, but honestly, what I expected to happen was that while he jumped off for the splash, Sami was gonna super kick him, and then put KO on top of Jey Uso.
Right, that's not crazy.
But no, instead, Jey Uso connected with the splash. 1, 2, 3, and the bloodline was successful, thanks to Sami Zayn. And throughout the whole match, once again, Sami Zayn proved his worth, proved his loyalty, and by constantly sticking his neck out for them. And finally, his hard work in proving his worth finally paid off, because finally he won over Jey Uso.
Exactly.
When it came to them celebrating, Jey Uso gave him a hug, and Sami is finally in good with everybody, and he also erased the doubt that Roman had in his loyalty.
Oh yeah.
And the funny thing is, the only reason why Roman had any kind of doubt was because of what Jey told him. Because before then, he completely trusted Sami. It's just that moment that Jey told that made him start to question a bit. But after this match and the outcome, you know, it just fully confirms, at least for the bloodline, where Sami's loyalty lies.
Exactly.
So, honestly, where the bloodline goes from here, I mean, the most I can see is just them celebrating, them bragging about the win, and you know, and then you know, thinking about what they're gonna do next.
Right.
I mean, more than likely, freaking, they're gonna look ahead to the next pay-per-view, which is there gonna be one next month?
No, there isn't. Not for the main roster. The next pay-per-view next month, which is in like about 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, deadline. Yes. So they're all gonna look ahead to the Royal Rumble, where more than likely Roman's gonna be defending the title against somebody. The Usos will be defending the tag titles, and then who knows? Maybe from then we'll see progression in the storyline, you know. But you know.
What were you saying about a pay-per-view next month to see who's going to be fighting who?
No. I was saying that they're going to look ahead to the Royal Rumble, you know, because that's
exactly. Yeah, that's a fact. But now I'm saying before then, before I corrected you saying the NXT pay-per-view, what we were saying who was going to fight. You thought there was going to be a pay-per-view next month, but who was going to be fighting who?
Nah. I thought there was going to be a pay-per-view next month, to which I said that they were going to defend their titles, but then that's when you corrected me.
Oh yeah, that's a fact, my man. Yup, right. And we're looking forward to Royal Rumble. Yup, that's when as we know, the road to WrestleMania begins.
Yep. But for now, at least for the bloodline, it's the time for war has ended, and the time for celebration begins.
Yep. Time for celebration begins, and Survivor Series War Games was extremely great. Hell yeah, the Bloodline reigns supreme, and let me say, acknowledge them, alright?
Nope, I refuse to. But I will say this: this match was good enough, and honestly, it was mainly because of the storytelling for me that I had no problem with the outcome. It was the storytelling that really did it for me.
Gotcha, man.
But with that being said, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Contracts. I definitely want to thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and chill with your boy. I want to thank the Humble Man also for taking the time to come and kick it with us and sharing his wrestling knowledge with the people.
Of course, my man. Of course, you already know it, my man. Of course, so we'll be right back at you in a week with the predictions for NXT deadline, and also in that same week we'll be right back at you with the results for NXT results for the pay-per-view deadline.
Yep. So until then, if y'all enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button, comment if you feel like it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And until next time, by way of Struggle Vision Productions, it's the Hitman and the Humble Man, and we out. Peace.
Peace. We out this bitch. Peace.